Peace. This is Brother Tim. I'd like to welcome you to Giammi Journey's Friday Night Freestyles. We kicking it as usual, and I'm joined tonight by my co-host, Brother Quasi, and we are about to kick it live. This show is coming live from the Shisha Lounge at 2369 North High Street. Come on out and do a hookah with us as we sit down and we talk about some current events, some spiritual matters, war, guns, and whatever else you hit me up on IM about that you want us to talk about. If you have any questions for myself or Brother Quasi, feel free to hit us up on my blog at www.giammijourney.com. Also, you can make comments on our Spreaker station, and I encourage everyone, get your own Spreaker station. Let's take advantage of the internet while it's still free. Let's go on and make sure that we are able to put our voices out there, put our thoughts out there, because you never know how your ideas may affect the world. So come on out and join us, or just sit down and listen. You know what I'm saying? Hit me up on my IM, hit me up on Google Plus. I'm on and I'm live. Also, I want to send out shots to those things that I love. You know what I'm saying? So first I want to send out some shots out to Oxy Water, the world's first oxygen-enhanced mineral water. I want to send out some shots to Oxy Water Black, because I love Oxy Water Black, Oxy Water Pink. They got cherry pomegranate, olive citrus, passion berry. And you can find out more about Oxy Water at www.tryoxywater.com. Also, if you into NASCAR, they also have a NASCAR that's rolling around at over 200 miles an hour with Oxy Water on the hood. So I'm cheering for the car, even though I don't understand NASCAR, because you got cars going around in the same direction for hours. I can't understand that. But to each his own. To each his own. You know what I'm saying? Also, I want to send some shots out to Orange 82. They are an electronic music label, and they provide us with the music that you hear on the show. On FreeStyle Friday, I'm going to stop playing a lot of the tunes because I got some other things that I'm working on, so I don't need to be dealing with no license, needing to license music and stuff like that, because, I'm working on the budget. As y'all can understand. Also, I want to send some shouts out to Unidade Capoeira for all those interested in learning an African Brazilian martial art. Unidade is led by Monitor Dentista, and he is a student of Ascabi Capoeira International, because it's international, but Unidade has locations in Cleveland, Columbus, Dayton, Toledo, Chicago, and Decatur, Madison, Alabama. I want to send some special shouts out to those brothers in Decatur, Madison, Alabama, because they came up for the Monitor Dentista's last workshop, and I understand it was pretty good. I also want to send some shouts out to New Harvest Urban Arts Complex. You know what I'm saying? If you ever want a good fish sandwich, go out there and check them out. They have jazz every Saturday night. Feel free to go there and enjoy yourself. I broadcast live from there sometimes, so come up there and join me. Also check out my blog at www.giamijourney.com. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you think about the show, and let me know what you think about some of my posts. And on the left-hand side of my blog, you can find my books. Yes, I am an author. Not only am I an urban shaman, a hip-hop philosopher, a radio host, but I'm also a writer. Yes, I am a man of many hats. And all those hats get heavy, and I am tired. But I love reaching out to you, like I hope you like reaching out to us. But now, since I done ran my mouth for about 5 minutes, which I'm good at, I'm going to let Brother Quasi go on and throw out his introductions and send out some shots to those people out there. And, ladies and gentlemen, he's going to be a major player on this show right now. So show him some love. Hit him up on Facebook, because we both on Facebook. He can give you all that information.
What's happening, world? It's your boy Quasi Lamar in the building with my big brother Hatem. We about to get this show cracking tonight. It's a couple things on my mind, One of the things we definitely going to talk about tonight is what's going on in this country with what's the underlying theme of this gun control issue. With that being said, I want to give a shout out to my school, OSU. All my people's there. And we've been dealing with some things these last couple of weeks. People threatening violence, whether it be gun violence or even bomb violence at the school. So my tension level, my stress level been kind of high. So I'm just dealing with that, asking some questions, wondering what it all means and how I fit in, how you fit in, So I definitely want you to be part of the conversation, because it's a lot of things on the horizon, and things are definitely changing. And the more we are part of the conversation, we being people whose voices aren't necessarily a part of the larger conversation, the more we insert our opinion into the conversation, the more we will be acknowledged in the changing climates of global politics.
So now what I'm going to do, we're just going to see what pops up, because he brought up this thing about gun control. So I'm going to just throw my hat into the argument. Now, I've been kind of looking at some of this stuff. I ain't been deeply researching, but I got to ask some questions. Now, one of the questions I got to ask about gun control, with all the measures that they are putting in place, has anybody asked the question, is all the measures that they're putting in place going to stop some fool from walking into a school and shoot somebody. Now, for example, let me go back and ask this question: if all the stuff that they are arguing over in the legislature, if all that stuff was enacted before all of these school shootings and all this madness with the movie shooting, if all these things in place, would they have stopped these events? So my question is, if we enact these things that they want to work on right now, if they are in place, if we put them in place, what really would they prevent? Would they prevent more people from getting guns that may absolutely need them? You know what I'm saying? Because some people like guns. Some people want to get them. Now, for example, I understand a little boy that walked up into Newtown, stole his gun from his mama. So none of the stuff that they are arguing about in the legislature would have made any difference in the way that he got the gun. Now, I need to do research on the other ones, but I just got to ask that question. Are our politicians just wasting time? Are they just collecting a check to do absolutely nothing and just make more laws for us to follow that are, in a sense, maybe useless or foolish? You know what I'm saying? What do you think about this? You know what I'm saying? Quasi, what's your words on that?
Can you ask the question again?
I said, what difference are the laws that these people want to put in place, like our government, that they want to put in place? What difference will these laws make, if any?
That's a good question. And I'm not necessarily sure, and I agree with you on that. Things like the movie shooting, for example. That was a place, because one of the biggest controversies now, at least from my perspective, being a college student on a college campus, is whether or not students should be allowed to carry. But obviously you can carry legally in a movie theater, and it didn't prevent that. So it's more, the problem with me, the thing that comes up with me is we're talking about gun control, which falls short of the larger issue to me, which is self-control. I think America needs a self-control movement, which is laughable. But, I think if people, some of the measures being taken are potentially directed towards that when we talk about greater background checks and delving into a person's mental stability and their ability to carry guns. But what about knives? Somebody just stabbed 14 people on a college campus. So ban all the guns and somebody just gonna go stabby. You know what I mean? So what about self-control is my question.
Hold on. We just got an interview with a congressman. He don't want his name to be spoken about, but he got some new legislation that he want to pass. Quasi, I'm gonna have you go on and interview this congressman.
I guess he don't want to put his name out there. I might just drop it. I don't know. He in my vicinity. He ain't get past the security without dropping 5 forms of ID, so we know who he is. And if he say the wrong thing, we might just let you know who he is.
Well, I just want to make some comments, because a new legislation that we're going to put in place is that in order for anybody to be able to get a knife, they have to have a background check, and they also need to be able to show that they are mentally able to handle a knife.
Are you mentally able? I don't know. So everybody get out your pen and paper. His name is Bleep Bleep.
Well, I don't want anybody to know, because this is some legislation that we're working on, and we're going to try to slide it through with the gun control. We believe that knives are very dangerous and that they need to be taken away from people in the public that may cause harm with this latest stabbing that went on. So we want to make sure that only mentally capable people who are mentally sane are able to buy knives.
Man, I thought this was an interview. I ain't even asked you no question. Man, security, get this nigga out of here, man. Get him out of here. Yo, let's keep it moving, man. I don't know about this guy. He kind of crazy. Hey, how you taking him out?
Hold on. I want to ask you a question. Senator, so you are saying that you want to legislate who can get knives. So what about like steak knives or butter knives? Well, yes, we want to legislate everyone. We want to make sure that everyone that has a knife is mentally able and stable enough to operate with that knife. Yes, and the legislation would include extremely sharp steak knives. And for some people, they may not be able to purchase butter knives either.
Yo, Hatem always been a lot more patient than me with these lunatics. But they want to call us lunatics. I don't know. Steak knives? What do you think? What say you?
That's right. No one in America needs to have a steak knife if they are not mentally capable of being able to handle it. And we want to make sure that the streets are safe. So along with guns, we're going to take away the knives from the American citizenry.
So how am I supposed to eat my steak?
Well, in actuality, steak doesn't really need to be cut. If you put it on a piece of bread, and put ketchup on top of it, you can eat your steak. You don't need to cut the steak. You just need to be able to consume the steak. And as a matter of fact, we may legislate saws. So you may not have steak pretty soon anyway, because we may need to go on and legislate the fact that they cut the meat in the first place. And those are dangerous weapons, and we need to make sure that everyone that is using sharp objects as well as things that can shoot out projectiles are mentally capable to use them in a responsible way.
Okay, sir. We'll just call you sir. How do you propose that we go about doing these mental stability tests? How do we handle that? That's a large task. How do we take that on?
First, we're going to start with Legos. Yes, I said Legos. If they cannot build the Millennium Falcon off of Star Wars, they are not mentally capable of carrying a concealed weapon, buying a weapon like a gun or a knife, including steak knives. Now, if they cannot build a log house, they cannot purchase a butter knife.
And there you have it. These are the people that are making decisions on your behalf. Do you think we should start with the mental stability test with them? I have long said that I think there's some type of sickness going on. I'm going to just put it out there. I'm going to say in the United States of America, I think mental healthy people are the exception. I think there's a sickness among us, and it is being infiltrated to us through our political leaders. So now that this man is being escorted out of the building, let's keep this conversation moving. I wanna switch it a little bit along the same lines. Let's look outside of the United States. Something I don't think enough of us are really doing, and see what's taking place on a larger scale. I just recently came across something that's been in the works for several years now, and it just now came to my attention. And I like to think that I stay up on my news a little bit. I could probably do better, but it's a new formation called BRICS. It's a merger of 5 of the most quickly developing small economies. They're turning into some of the largest economies on the planet. BRICS is an acronym. It stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and the newest member, South Africa. These countries are coming together because they're, like I said, they have an economic growth, and they want to see how they can use their status in projecting into the future and knowing that they're going to be some of the largest economic centers. They're going to also have a lot of economic and political influence. So I think at first I was kind of optimistic about it, but as I continue to read about it, I'm starting to wonder if some of the same powers might be behind the strings or pulling the strings behind the scenes. What you think about that, Tim?
Well, the one thing that we need to always be aware of, that a lot of leaders of these countries are Western taught and educated. They have been through some of the same institutions that produce some of our best politicians. So really, regardless of whether they're yellow, brown, or black, most of the time, the words and the thought formations that are happening inside their head leads towards following the model that has been laid down by the Western world. If they are not talking about helping the poor and disenfranchised, if they are not talking about the things that are affecting our climates on a national on an international level, if they are not talking about helping those people who need the most help, because Brazil is one of the most lopsided countries in the world. I mean, we talk about the gap between the rich and the poor here is just as bad in most of the countries that you just mentioned. So now, what it sounds like to me is you got a group of people that's coming together to try to duplicate the lifestyle, the ravenous, consumer-based lifestyle of America. So now, instead of just 300 fat people on this planet, you know what I'm saying, we want to get 2 billion.
And I was just reading about that too. Brazil is lopsided for real. Like, we think we pay a lot for food over here. You might be paying twice as much when you order your large pizza down there, or twice as much for your pair of Jordans down there. Like, their economy is kind of outrageous. Their inflation is, they're experiencing hyperinflation like right now. And you know, like, how often do we think about those implications and how that's going to affect us? And where do we fall into the scheme? How are people around the world looking at America now? Are we still the unstoppable giant, you know, or are people starting to look at us as expendable? Are we a central piece in what takes place in the world? Is that still something that we can rest or hang our hat on?
Hell yeah. America is still a centerpiece, because America, where else can you get 330 million consumers? America is the bread basket of the world. So now, you know, like, people be talking about, well, China and Japan and, you know, and all these other countries. The one thing that a lot of people forget, that even though our middle class is shrinking, we still have a nice sized middle class, as well as poor people who have expendable income. I don't know how, but we still have expendable income. And all these countries still can bank on the fact that if they put products out and make them attractive enough, Americans will consume them. So yeah, we gonna maintain our position. I'm not worried about China. First off, they ain't gonna do nothing, because hell, if we stop buying, they stop making money. Period. Because everything you probably got on right now, Mr. Kwesi Lamar, in some form or fashion, something on you was made in China. Something on me was made in China. Something on a lot of our listeners was made in China. The very computers that we probably are talking on right now was made in China, or maybe India. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, yeah, we're going to maintain a central role as long as we are able to produce the consumers. Now, okay. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to give Spreaker a chance to go and talk with y'all about Spreaker, because I want everybody out there that's listening to me, go and get a radio station, get a blog, let your voice be heard. You know what I'm saying? Because no one could tell your truth better than you can. So go and take a couple minutes and listen to our commercial break from Spreaker. And we're back. Once again, this is Brother Hatim, and joining me tonight is my co-host, Kwesi Lamar. And you know, we had a nice little interview. I'm hoping we can get some more interviews. I'm hoping we get some more guests on the show. So if you're listening, let us know by sending us a shout out on Google or Facebook, and feel free to share the link. And if you like it, go and send out our podcast, because we're going to be doing this. We're doing this. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to take advantage of the internet economy. We're trying to provide you with services that you like. So let us know what you want to hear about. All right, so I'm going back to Kwesi, because he has some more things that he want to get off his chest. And if you got some things you want to get off your chest, go and hit us up.
What I'm thinking about is a tie-in. You know, how does it all fit together? I'm under the impression that it's potentially people in these different, like, you know, talking about bricks. Maybe the minds behind all that might also be some of the minds behind gun control in the United States. And how could that potentially tie in? How could a potentially emerging capital or economic system, because they are planning on investing in a new banking system, that could potentially lead to a new currency that could potentially have the
still in lighters, y'all.
that got economic value out here. What are you talking about? I need those. But how could that a new emerging economy affect the dollar? And if the dollar is affected, how could that affect life in the United States? We all bank on the fact that the dollar, whether or not you know it, we bank on the fact that around the world, the dollar is the preferred currency. So if the dollar was to cease to be the preferred currency in places like China and India, where it's probably more people spending dollars than there are in U.S., maybe not as much as in the U.S., but more people spending. So it might even equal out to maybe the United States is spending as much U.S. dollars as the rest of the world. So how would that affect us here if people started to prefer a new form of currency?
All right, so you from what I understand, if I hear you correct, you're trying to tie the both of them together, gun control and BRIC. So first, let's talk about BRIC possibly coming in and having a new currency that they support and that they want it to compete with the American dollar. It won't happen. I mean, because America likes being on top, and as long as America is spending money on the military, they will consider that an act of war. Now, it might not be no straight outright aggression, but believe you me, those fools in Washington D.C. they are going to start doing some embargo. Bring up this new economy, as well as people that's trying to bring in this new economy, as well as talk about the people that's trying to do gun control. Now, there many conspiracy theorists are saying that the United States government want to take away the guns from American citizenry so that we can be a more controlled population for this so-called one world order that is supposed to be coming in effect. I'm not going to say whether I believe in it or whether I don't. Anything is possible. So maybe it is all tied in. Maybe we got some people behind the curtains pulling the strings to make sure that everything works in the way that they want it to work. You know what I'm saying? There's a vested interest in possibly keeping the American citizenry under control. Because really, when it comes down to it, Americans are the most armed and the most dangerous population on this planet. Now, I don't know what it's going to take to wake the sleeping giant. White, black, brown. You know what I'm saying? What it's going to take to wake up the poor people. Because the middle class is shrinking. Life is getting harder. I don't know what it's going to take to wake us up to finally be like, hey, we demand change. You know what I'm saying? And not just doing marching, but also doing some writing and using this tool called the internet to make people aware of some of the things that are being thrown in our face. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's gun control, whether it's our currency declining in value, whether it's the fact that we're bailing out banks while my mom can't be bailed out of her house that she is paying more, or your mom or your relatives can't be bailed out of these houses that they are paying for that are maybe 50% below the original value at which they bought the houses. They're drowning in these houses, but we'll buy out these banks, but we won't buy out our citizenry. What is it going to take for us to wake up? Wake up, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Now is the time. So, but I don't personally believe that the system is broken. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut on that one and keep it moving.
The system, we had an interesting conversation. How Tim hit me with some jewels on the system being broken. If we got a little bit of time, I think we might say that for next week. But responding to what you said about the curtain, if there is a man or men behind the curtain, the hypothetical curtain, that are acting on behalf of themselves at our expense, which is what that concept is kind of hinting at. How will we best get behind that curtain? How do we best see what's going on the other side? I think armed rather than unarmed, we would have a lot better chance of getting behind that curtain, because when I think of that curtain, I think of the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though I can't stand their asses. But I'm thinking it's a steel curtain protected with artillery. So if we don't have artillery, we can be pretty much put into a submissive position.
I disagree with you. I believe that if there is a group of individuals or a single individual guiding everything, the curtain that they're hiding behind is the curtain of illusion. Because the thing that you always got to understand, and that everybody in America got to understand, is that the military is made up of civilians. It's made up of our own population. So now, if any of them are dumb enough to start shooting their own population, then God help them. God help them. The only thing that's holding us where we are is our illusion and our tendency, I believe, to act as victims. We need to get rid of this victim shit, take our personal responsibility, our Coochie Chakalia as we call it, the Coochie Chakalia, and be self-determined to and bold enough to tell these politicians to get off their ass and serve the people, rather than serving those individuals, that small group of 144,000. Now that number for some of y'all that are into the Bible should ring some bells, but there's 144,000 individuals that control what goes on with 330 million. How can 144,000 control 330 million unless we allow them? How can a midget control a giant without that giant's permission? I'm saying take your permission back. Take your self-determination back, and the individual behind the curtain will shake. Now, this goes back to one of the myths. When you look at the Wizard of Oz, they let you know that Oz was nothing but a farce. They got a whole movie out about Oz right now. He's nothing but a farce, a fake magician. You know what I'm saying? So let's pull the curtain back and let's find that little skinny man or woman that's back there, or those group of men and women, and let them know what direction we want to go in, rather than depending on them to take care of us.
Word. Or maybe even another option is to just ignore that man behind the curtain and just do our own thing. How scary is that, though? How many people are ready to get their hands dirty? And I'm not talking about blood. I'm talking about dirt. Put your hands in the dirt and plant some shit. Watch it grow. Write down what you did, where you grew it, see what results you got, and then the next year, try something new. Or maybe if it worked good, then continue with that. But if it didn't work out so well, try something new. That's called experimentation. And that's from the principle of science. And I'm under the impression that whoever this man behind this curtain is, or if that person even exists, on the conspiracy theory tip, they did it by science. They understand the science of people. They understand the science of emotions and fear. And they understand things like that. And it all boils down to science, if you ask me. And I think a lot of the ancients and even people in third world countries, they still use some of these sciences. Maybe that's why some poor people still experience joy on a much greater level than us in this country that are experiencing sadness. But we got all the materials, we got all of the disposable wealth, We can go get Black Mouths and Newports and, fast food, but can you buy happiness? That's the question. Like, where's the happiness? Are we happy with this path that we're on? When will we decide between the happiness that we want or what we want for our lives and chasing after this dream that we seem to be chasing after? I'm at Ohio State, and I ask myself every day, is this where I'm supposed to be? Am I selling out? In one of my classes, social psychology, I learned so much. But I just realized, because a lot of times we spark some pretty interesting conversations, and a lot of times half the class will walk out. So what I thought to myself was, maybe the conversation was too deep. But then I thought about it again, and I was like, maybe they walked out because that shit ain't going to be on the test. And they don't care to hear that shit. They just want to get the information that's going to be on the test so they can pass the test and get their degree. So how do we combat that? Or how do we deal with that reality of people being more driven by their own personal success and not seeing down the line how their personal success might be compromised by their very drive for personal success?
Well, maybe it ain't maybe it's not a drive for success. Maybe it's a drive for mediocrity. See, because America, we have a cult of mediocrity where you just need to fit in. But oftentimes by fitting in, you betray yourself. You make everybody else happy, but you betray yourself. And a lot of people, when you start thinking, it becomes too problematic. You want to leave that to somebody else, and you want to get your degree or you want to get your diploma so that you could work for someone else. Now, I've said this before, but America does not need more consumers. We do not need more people to get jobs. America needs more entrepreneurs, and the education system, which is not broke, by the way. You can read that in my blog because I keep on saying that because I'm hyping up a blog that I'm about to put together. The education system is not broke. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. So what we need to be able to do is either change the education system or stop complaining because it's doing what it's supposed to do. Exactly. I'm studying for a test. I'm not studying to think. Fuck that. I don't want to think. You know what I'm saying? Pay me for my time. Let me come to work and do the little simple stuff, and I leave all the thinking to my superiors. You know what I'm saying? So some of y'all need to break off some of those chains of being just a drone and start doing some deep thinking beyond getting a damn job. Think about creating a job for yourself. Think about creating a job for those other individuals that are thinking similar to you. That's the only way America is going to be able to keep its position. Because if we have another 2 generations of drones, best believe somebody is going to take our place. Right now, the politicians are fighting to keep us where we are, but, they're using something that's not broken, and I keep on going back to that because I'm hyping up this blog because I want you to check it out. Remember, it's not broken. It's something else wrong, and we are not addressing, from my perspective, the real issue here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to some music from Orange 82. I want you to check it out, and then we'll come back and we'll say our farewells because we only going to have about a minute left. congressman has broken through security, and he's back, and he's saying he has something that he want to say. I'm going to pause the music so that I can ask this congressman some questions. One of the questions that I have always wanted to ask the congressman or a senator or any politician is there a class that y'all go through where y'all are taught not to answer questions? Well, let me just say, senator or congressman or whatever the hell you are, can you just answer the question, yes or no? Well, let me just say that that's a double question. The answer to the question is yes or no. I'm going to let you decide. There are classes that we do go through, and we do learn some things, yes, and we do not learn some things, no. Hold on, I'm going to let Quasi go. Give me the mic, man. I'm going to let Quasi go and ask a question, and maybe he can make it a little bit clearer.
Are you lying to us?
Well, let me start by saying no and yes. No, I'm not lying. No, I'm not lying, but yes, I may be kind of bending the truth just a little bit. That's the word, right? Maybe. I'm not, well, maybe. But let's talk about gun control.
Gun control. I heard you was running for president, by the way, so if you running for president, I ain't giving up my damn guns. Are you running for president?
Well, let me answer that first by saying I have not officially thrown my hat in the race, and there is some fundraising going on, and I'm checking with my own people that give me counsel about congressman, yes or no? Well, let me answer that very simply by telling you a story about where I come from. Where I come from. All right, that's enough. Senator, thank you. Or congressman or whatever the hell you are. Thank you very much. Hey, this has been Brother Hatim.
And your boy Quasi Lamar.
And we're going to join y'all again soon. Now, y'all know we do a guerrilla show. We always on the run. Whether it's some child support or some other issues that we may be dealing with in life, just like many of you out there. So you never know when we're going to broadcast, because we might not want some people to find us, but you can have a good idea where we may be broadcasting from by joining the blog, what time we'll broadcast, So this has been Brother Hatim. Once again, I'd like to thank you for joining us. And with that, we are out.